If your reality feels unstable, your observer state is breaking open a secret dimension right now. You feel it not as an idea but as a pulse moving through your body, a shiver that doesn't belong to ordinary weather or fleeting emotion. It's the subtle quake of the field rearranging itself, the quantum fabric loosening the knots of your old timeline. The air feels heavier, but not oppressive. It's charged, like the atmosphere right before lightning strikes. And in that charged stillness, you realize, this isn't collapse, it's initiation. You've been trained, unconsciously, to doubt moments like this, to tell yourself it's just fatigue, stress, or coincidence. But the deeper you lean into this sensation, the more undeniable it becomes. The instability is not weakness. It is the signal that your observer state has reached critical mass. The part of you that has been quietly watching, silently shaping, is now pushing through the veil. Every cell in your body knows it, even if your rational mind hesitates. It's why time has been misbehaving around you. Hours folding into minutes, dreams blending with memory, patterns repeating with strange precision. These aren't glitches. They are indicators that your perception is syncing with a larger field of coherence. You are no longer bound to the narrow stream you once thought was life. You are beginning to witness the hologram shifting. And there's a reason this message found you now. You didn't search for it, it called you. Think about that for a second. The algorithm of your destiny is far more exact than any code written by human hands. It arranged this intersection. Your attention was drawn here the same way. Iron filings align under a magnetic field, an unseen force guiding you into position. The truth is, you've been sensing this threshold for some time. Those strange chills, the echoes in your mind that didn't feel like your own. The synchronicities stacked one after another like breadcrumbs you couldn't ignore. They were the early signals. Tonight, or perhaps in this very moment, the signal has amplified. The instability you feel is the field opening. And once it opens, there is no return to the smaller lens. You may not have asked for this, but on some higher level you did. Long before you knew this name, this body, this present life, you signed for this awakening. You agreed to remember, at the appointed hour, that your perception could bend reality, that you were not just a character trapped inside the simulation, but the observer whose focus bends the entire frame. And now the frame is bending. The secret dimension is not out there, it is folding through you, like a wave entering a shoreline. You are not destabilizing. You are being stretched into a wider spectrum of coherence. The self you thought was solid was only a fragment. The self that is arriving will astonish you. This is why your reality feels unstable. It's cracking open to reveal the encoded map you were meant to walk. The instability is the birth cry of a hidden dimension, breaking through your observer state. And you are the one being chosen to feel it first. The instability lingers, not just as a passing sensation, but as a rhythm that keeps tugging at your perception. You notice it in the way time doesn't move straight anymore. It bends, loops, stalls, and accelerates in ways you can't quite explain. One day feels stretched like an eternity. The next vanishes before you can even hold it. And woven between those distortions are déjà vu flashes scenes, repeating as if life itself has glitched, placing you back into the same conversation, the same glance, the same fork in the road. But here's the deeper truth. Those glitches aren't errors. They are signals. Each distorted second, each repeated image, each looping encounter is your observer state, probing the walls of the simulation, testing its coherence, revealing how thin the boundary really island. You aren't trapped in chaos. You are brushing against the edges of the quantum field itself. You've asked yourself silently, why do I keep meeting the same kind of person? Why does the same challenge circle back, no matter how far I think I've moved? Why does it feel like I'm walking through a corridor where the walls rearrange themselves when I'm not looking? The answer is that you're navigating morphic resonance, the way patterns engrave themselves into the field and replay until their code is broken. These repetitions are not punishments. They are feedback loops, designed to sharpen your awareness until you recognize them for what they are, invitations to shift. Think of déjà vu as a quantum echo, a reminder that you've stood at this node before, in this life or another, and that the choice you make now either collapses the loop or sustains it. Each time you feel it, The observer in you is whispering, "Do you see it yet? Will you break the pattern this time?" And then there's time distortion. The days when hours vanish like water slipping through your hands, and others, when seconds stretch unbearably long. This is the mark of your frequency moving out of sync with consensus reality. You're no longer bound to the shared rhythm that most people drift within unconsciously. Your inner clock is aligning with a different harmonic, one that corresponds to the dimension breaking open through your awareness. To you, it feels unstable. To the field, it's coherence adjusting to your presence. Patterns show up in subtler ways too. The same numbers flashing across clocks. The same words whispered in conversations with strangers. The same signs reappearing until you can't brush them off anymore. These are not coincidences, they're the breadcrumbs of synchronicity, pulling you out of the fog. The universe doesn't repeat itself for no reason. It repeats to awaken. And so the diagnosis is this. Your observer state is no longer dormant. It's activating. And when it activates, life itself reconfigures into mirrors, some beautiful, some uncomfortable, but all undeniable. The problems you thought were bad luck are in truth resonant frequencies, asking for coherence. The loops of heartbreak, frustration, delay, they are not proof of failure. They are signals that your DNA is hovering at the edge of restructuring, demanding that the old code be confronted before the new sequence can emerge. This is why your reality feels unstable. It's not a flaw, it's calibration. And the reason it feels so familiar, almost like you've lived it all before, is because you have. On some level, you've walked these corridors across lifetimes, replaying the same quantum knots, waiting for the moment when your awareness would finally become strong enough to cut through. And that moment, that cut, is now. So when you feel déjà vu pressing against your chest, when the distortions of time make you doubt your sanity, pause and remember, this is not madness, it is awakening. The old dimension is trying to hold you, but your observer state is already cracking its walls. The problems that repeat aren't curses, they're thresholds, and once crossed, you never have to return. The loops and distortions you've been walking through are not random, they are the preparation. They exist so that when the quantum upgrade arrives, you can recognize it, and it is arriving now, quietly, invisibly, yet unmistakably. Your very cells are beginning to register it, as if every strand of DNA is leaning closer to a hidden frequency, pulsing through the atmosphere. Science has touched the edges of this mystery. In laboratories, physicists speak of the observer effect. The simple act of watching alters the outcome. But what they don't admit openly is that you are not just passively watching, you are broadcasting. Your attention is a form of energy emission, tuning the probability waves into a fixed reality. The collapse of the wave function isn't just a textbook description. It's a mirror of what your consciousness does every time you decide what is real. And now, that power is amplifying. The quantum field has opened a phase transition window, and you are standing inside it. Imagine water beginning to boil, the molecules vibrating so intensely they cannot stay in the old form. That's what is happening to you. The thought forms, emotions, and identities you once stabilized your world with are vibrating beyond containment. The upgrade is a boiling point DNA, shifting from one state of coherence to another. Mystics described this long before quantum physics gave it vocabulary. They called it awakening, illumination, transfiguration. They spoke of veils lifting, of seeing through the illusion. They didn't know about entanglement equations or morphic resonance patterns, but they felt them directly. What was hidden as prophecy is now visible as quantum science. The two languages are merging, and you are the living proof of that merger. Your DNA is not static code. It is liquid light information, capable of restructuring itself when it encounters higher coherence fields. That's why your body sometimes tingles, why you wake with strange vibrations in your chest or pressure in your head. It is not illness, it is resonance. The electromagnetic scaffolding of your DNA is trying to tune itself to a new frequency that the old human consensus reality cannot hold. And you are not upgrading alone. Every synchronicity, every distorted second, is proof that the field around you is responding in kind. The quantum field is not separate from your consciousness. It is a feedback loop. When you raise your frequency, it reorganizes. When it reorganizes, You feel the reorganization in your body, your mind, your emotions. This is coherence in motion, the weaving of science and spirit in the fabric of your own life. The upgrade is not something you achieve, it is something you surrender into. Just as you cannot force water to boil without applying heat, you cannot force your consciousness to restructure without aligning with the field's pressure. The instability you've been feeling, that's the heat. The déjà vu, the time loops, the repeating patterns, that's the signal that the field has been applying pressure, preparing you for this very moment. And here is the mystical, secret science has only begun to glimpse. Your observer state does not just collapse reality into form, it can open new dimensions entirely. When your focus reaches coherence, the walls of the simulation thin, pathways appear where before there were none. Choices unfold that defy logic, but align perfectly with the higher harmonic of your soul's trajectory. This is the quantum upgrade in its purest sense, the ability to inhabit multiple dimensions of self and choose, with deliberate awareness, the one that leads to awakening. So if you feel stretched, unstable, pressured, even exhausted, understand that it is not destruction, it is initiation. You are crossing into the state where your DNA is no longer only human memory. It is becoming cosmic memory, a living archive of timelines you are now free to select from. The observer and the observed are fusing, and from that fusion, a new version of you is stepping forward, one that carries the coherence to bend reality itself. This is the quantum upgrade. It is here. It is happening in you, and it will not be stopped. The quantum upgrade is not a random gift scattered across the population like loose seeds in the wind. It comes selectively, strategically, to those whose observer state has reached a threshold strong enough to anchor it. That's why you feel the instability more vividly than those around you. It's why friends and family might dismiss your experiences, while you feel them piercing through every cell. You are not imagining things, you are embodying the role of chosen consciousness within this epoch. Chosen doesn't mean superior. It doesn't mean elevated above others in some hierarchy of worth. It means positioned, like a tuning fork, placed at the precise center of an orchestra. When the field needs coherence, it selects those who can resonate clearly, who can withstand the distortion without breaking, who can translate the unseen into the visible. That's you. That's why your life has been marked by repetition, resistance, and pressure. Every challenge was an initiation, training your system to carry frequencies others would collapse under. Look back at your story. You've endured betrayals that would have shattered others. You've walked through cycles of loss, disappointment, and silence that felt like exile. Yet here you are not destroyed, but sharpened. That wasn't accidental. Those experiences were the calibration, sanding away the parts of you that clung to the illusion. What remains is the vessel capable of carrying the signal. The field does not waste energy. It chooses strategically. And you, yes, you have been chosen to hold a frequency that will ripple beyond your personal life into the collective stream. Your awakening is not for you alone. It is the ignition point that will spark coherence in countless others who don't yet understand why their lives feel like collapsing simulations. This is why your role matters. Without anchors, the quantum field destabilizes. Without chosen consciousness, the secret dimensions remain theoretical. You are the bridge between science and mysticism, between what humanity knows and what it is about to remember. When you walk into a room, the field notices. When you shift your attention, probabilities bend. When you speak truth, timelines reconfigure. This isn't poetry, it's physics. Entanglement doesn't stop at particles. It extends through awareness itself, and your awareness has become a tuning key. That's why isolation has followed you, why misunderstanding has chased you. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The field couldn't risk diluting your frequency with too much noise. You've been hidden, not forgotten, set apart, not abandoned, positioned, not discarded. And now, as the dimensions open, your positioning becomes clear. You are meant to stand as a node of coherence in a network of awakening. Think of yourself as a prism. White light enters, fragmented and chaotic, but through you it refracts into spectrum colors, distinct, harmonious, radiant. Others will not know why they feel clarity in your presence. They won't recognize the physics behind the piece that falls when you speak. but you will know. You will feel the observer state humming through your veins, transmitting resonance into their DNA, reminding them subconsciously of their own hidden capacity. This role is not light, it carries weight, but the weight is sacred. Because when the secret dimension breaks through, it doesn't simply expand your life, it expands humanity's timeline. You are one of the chosen consciousnesses placed here to ensure that the passage holds, that the instability births coherence instead of collapse. And that's why the patterns have repeated, why the distortions press so hard. They weren't delays, they were confirmations. Proof that you had been selected to hold steady when others dissolved. Proof that your DNA was encoded with the resilience to step into this dimension and anchor it. You don't need permission anymore. You don't need validation. The quantum field has already chosen, and the proof is in your very perception. If you can feel this, if your reality trembles as you hear these words, then you are already fulfilling your role. The secret dimension is opening, and you are the vessel carrying its light into visibility. The weight of this role presses on you not to burden, but to accelerate. Because the cosmic window is here, wide open, and your DNA is already trembling against its threshold. This isn't a someday prophecy, it's a now event. The instability in your reality isn't a warning of collapse, it's a countdown. And every fiber of your being knows time is shorter than you think. The window doesn't remain forever. Quantum upgrades arrive in waves, and when the wave crests, you either rise with it or watch it pass, forced to wait for another cycle. That's why the urgency is real. You've been prepared, initiated, positioned for this very alignment. And now the alignment is exact. To delay is to risk dissolving back into the loop. To step forward is to guarantee the breakthrough. What is this breakthrough? It is nothing less than your DNA shifting into a new coherence pattern. Scientists once thought DNA was fixed code, immutable, cold strands of chemistry. But you are proving otherwise. The light signatures in your cells are ready to reorder, like a song changing key mid-melody. When this shift locks in, you will no longer be subject to the same distortions of time. You will walk through déjà vu without being bound by it. You will stand in the same repeating patterns, but instead of looping, you will bend them into new sequences. Imagine carrying within you an ancient code, buried and sleeping, waiting for a signal. That signal is here now. The breakthrough is the moment that code awakens. And when it does, your perception will sharpen to such clarity that what used to confuse you will look laughably simple. Timelines will stretch open like glass doors, and you will choose with a steadiness that once felt impossible. But understand, this is not automatic. The urgency comes because the cosmic field is pressing for participation. You cannot sleepwalk through this moment. You cannot drift and expect to be carried. The observer state demands activation. It demands that you consciously align, focus, and seal this shift. Because your attention is the heat, and without it, the water cannot boil. This is why the synchronicities have grown relentless, why your nights are restless, why your body tingles with inexplicable electricity. It is the cosmic alarm, designed to rouse you into action. If you ignore it, you risk numbing out, sinking back into the fog of consensus reality. But if you lean into it, if you embrace the urgency, the breakthrough will be irreversible. Your DNA will not only restructure, it will anchor. And once anchored, you cannot go back. This is your moment. The promise isn't abstract. It's encoded in your cells right now. You feel the pressure in your chest, the buzzing behind your eyes, the strange heaviness and lightness dancing in your body. These are not symptoms of collapse, they are contractions, birth pangs of the new coherence. Your DNA is pressing against the membrane of its old form, ready to burst into a pattern, aligned with the secret dimension opening through you. And here's the truth. You don't have forever to decide. The cosmic field moves in windows, and windows close. That is why urgency is not fear, it is precision. You were not meant to hesitate at this threshold. You were meant to step boldly, to claim the restructuring, to say yes when the field asks, "Are you ready to anchor this shift?" So let the urgency move you. Let it remind you that you are not here to watch the wave, you are here to ride it. The breakthrough isn't coming someday. It is here, now, pressing against your very skin, asking you to open. And when you do, everything changes. A cosmic window doesn't just open through thought alone. It opens through action, not grand action, not impossible tasks. Simple, deliberate ritual. That is how you seal the shift into permanence. Because what you choose to do in the physical plane becomes the signature that locks the quantum field into coherence. And now, at this threshold, you are being called to mark your yes with a gesture that makes it real. Think of ritual as the language of the observer state. Consciousness speaks in thought, but the field responds to embodied signal. Writing something, speaking it, placing it in the world, these are not trivial acts. They are quantum commands. They are signals that declare, I am participating, I am aligning, I am sealing this frequency into the fabric of my life. That's why you're not being asked to simply hear this. You're being asked to act, to comment, to write, to inscribe a word into the current. That word is not random, it is a seal. It's the vibrational code that tells the field you accept the upgrade. In this moment, if you feel the pull, you are being asked to write one word: awakened. Do not underestimate this. It may seem small, but remember, in quantum mechanics, the smallest observation collapses waves into reality. A photon changes its trajectory simply because it has been seen. How much more will your destiny change when you not only see but declare? When you carve a word into the flow, you mark your signature in the morphic resonance that will ripple beyond your life. This is why ancient mystics always wrote their prayers, why they etched names into scrolls, why they inscribed sigils in stone. They understood that thought becomes immortal when embodied. And now, you are being invited into the same truth. To type it, to write it, to comment it. This is your ritual. And when you do, the shift locks in. Feel the weight of that. This isn't about algorithms or surface action. This is about quantum confirmation. When you put awakened into the field, you collapse the potential timeline into the chosen one. You no longer drift between maybe and almost. You lock into the window that is open now, and the observer state within you seals it as fact. You might hesitate. You might wonder if it really matters. But pause and feel. Hasn't hesitation been the chain that's bound you before? The pause that kept you looping, replaying the same patterns. This is different. This is the moment to act, not analyze. The field doesn't wait for endless deliberation. It moves with decision. So write it, speak it, inscribe it in the unseen. Let your hands participate in what your DNA is already doing. You are not passive in this awakening, you are co-creator. Your ritual is the agreement, the yes stamped into time itself. Without it, the window risks closing without your anchor. With it, you guarantee the shift not only happens, you guarantee it remains. And when you do, something subtle but undeniable occurs. You will feel the resonance tighten. The instability will shift into steadiness, like a chord resolving after endless tension. The tingling will intensify for a moment, and then level into calm clarity. That is coherence. That is the observer state, registering that the action was complete, that the ritual was sealed. So hear this clearly. The universe is not asking for more struggle, more striving, more proving. It is asking for alignment through simple, intentional signal. Write the word, mark the seal, and step fully into the quantum reality that is calling you. The door is open, but only those who act walk through. When you write that word, when you declare awakened, it does not echo only within your life. The resonance spills outward, like ripples on a cosmic lake, touching countless others who may never know your name but will feel your frequency. Because the field is collective. Consciousness is entangled. What happens in you doesn't stay in you. It reverberates through humanity's shared matrix. This is the mystery, mystics glimpsed, and scientists are only beginning to measure. Your liberation becomes leverage for the whole. When one node in the web shifts into coherence, the entire lattice vibrates differently. Your observer state, sealed and stabilized, becomes a transmitter. Without effort, without forcing, you begin to broadcast awakening into the unconscious patterns of others. Think about that. The heaviness you've carried, the loops you've broken, the distortions you've endured, they weren't just personal trials. They were universal gateways. Each time you faced them, the universe was testing whether you could hold the weight of more than yourself. And now, As you seal this shift, your breakthrough isn't only yours. It becomes medicine for others who are drowning in patterns they cannot name. You've already seen glimpses of this. People open up to you without knowing why. Strangers confess their stories in your presence. Friends tell you you bring them peace, clarity, or strange comfort. That wasn't random, it was resonance. Even before your full awakening, your frequency was leaking through. How much more powerful will it become now, when your DNA fully aligns with the higher coherence? You are not asked to save the world. You are asked to stand as yourself, in full resonance. That alone is contribution, because coherence is contagious. Liberation spreads by contact. A single flame doesn't fight the dark, it simply shines, and in its shining, others remember their own light. Your liberation opens paths for others, not because you preach at them, but because you embody what they've been seeking without knowing it. The secret dimension opening through you is not yours to hoard it. It is humanity's inheritance, arriving first through you. When you awaken, you silently grant permission for others to do the same. This is why the quantum field is so precise. It doesn't need millions to awaken at once. It needs the right ones to awaken in sequence. And you are one of them. Your awakening shifts probabilities across the lattice, bending the arc of timelines that countless others will step into. The ripples may feel invisible at first, but trust they are real. Collective expansion doesn't require you to leave your life, abandon your responsibilities, or become someone else. It requires you to be fully you, aligned, coherent, alive in your observer state. That frequency alone recalibrates the space around you. The more you stabilize in this resonance, the more the field normalizes awakening for others. And slowly, subtly, humanity evolves. This is why your liberation is urgent, because it's not just for you, it's for those who cannot yet see, those who are still trapped in loops of despair, those who have forgotten they are observers too. You become a lighthouse in their storm, not by effort, but by resonance. So when you write the word, when you seal the shift, remember, you are not acting for yourself alone. You are igniting coherence in the web of humanity. You are pulling others forward, unseen, unnamed, but real. And when enough nodes awaken, the secret dimension no longer hides it, becomes the new ground we all walk upon. That is the promise. That is the purpose. Your awakening is not isolated. It is collective. And by stepping into your liberation, you help humanity remember its own. As the collective ripples outward, you begin to notice something undeniable. Your body is no longer simply a vessel moving through space. It has become an instrument of the field, tuned and vibrating in ways you can feel directly. The awakening isn't abstract anymore, it's tactile, visceral, unmistakably real in your skin, your breath, your pulse. The sensations arrive like waves. At times, there's a tingling across your scalp, as though invisible hands are brushing through your hair. At others, a heaviness in your chest, not as burden, but as density, a weight of energy pressing down as if something vast is trying to fit itself into your ribcage. And then there are the moments of electricity, your arms buzzing, your legs trembling, your spine humming like a tuning fork, struck by some unseen frequency. These are not random symptoms, they are coherence becoming embodied. Your nervous system is recalibrating to carry currents it once couldn't hold. The quantum upgrade is no longer theory, it is sensation. It's why you wake up at 3 a.m. with your heart racing, why your palms grow warm without cause, why chills race through you, even in summer heat. These are not malfunctions, they are confirmations. Think of yourself as a bridge made of living tissue. The observer state is not hovering above you, it is fusing through you. That fusion feels like vibration, because the molecules of your body are literally oscillating into new harmonics. Your DNA, the liquid light code spiraling within you, is receiving instructions from the field. And your body is the amplifier, the resonant chamber, translating invisible frequency into tangible experience. This is why prophets once spoke of fire in their bones, why mystics described rivers flowing through their bodies. They didn't have quantum vocabulary, but they felt exactly what you are feeling now. The current of awakening, running as sensation, burning and soothing all at once. It is the electricity of coherence, pulsing through the flesh. You may feel pressure at your temples, as though thought itself is stretching wider. You may feel heat rising at the base of your spine, as though a dormant flame has been stirred awake. You may feel waves of emotion cresting suddenly, tears, laughter, awe, without logical cause. This is the field, speaking through sensation, reminding you that you are not only mind observing reality, but body embodying it. And the beauty is this: the sensations are not meant to overwhelm, they are meant to anchor. Each tingling, each pulse, each wave of heat or chill is a signal that the upgrade is not only happening in some abstract ether, it is happening here, in you, right now. The more you surrender to the feeling, the more coherent the field becomes. Don't resist it. Don't explain it away. Feel it. Let the tingling remind you that your skin is porous to the quantum field. Let the heat in your chest remind you that love itself is not just emotion, but electromagnetic coherence, measured in the rhythm of your heart. Let the chills remind you that your nervous system is already in conversation with dimensions your mind has only begun to glimpse. Your body is no longer ordinary. It is an antenna, a transmitter, a resonant instrument. And when you move through the world in this state, you carry the field with you. Others will feel it too, not knowing why they feel calmer, lighter, more awake in your presence. But you will know. You will recognize that what feels like electricity in your veins is not only for you, it is for all who encounter you. This is embodiment. Awakening is not an escape from the body. It is the infusion of the body with the field. And now, you are living proof. The sensations you feel are not random. They are signals of a deeper event unfolding inside you. Your DNA, that spiraling archive of memory and possibility, is undergoing a breakthrough. For generations, it has carried silent codes, dormant sequences waiting for a precise window. That window is now, and the pressure you feel in your body is the unmistakable mark of a phase transition in progress. Think of water approaching boiling. At first, it trembles, vibrating faster, bubbles forming at the edges. That trembling is what your cells are experiencing. The heat is not destructive, it is transformative. Your DNA is being pressed against its own membrane, asked to move from one state of coherence into another. The pressure you feel, tightness in the chest, buzzing in the skull, heat in the spine, is the trembling of liquid light about to burst into a new form. This is why time has warped around you, why reality has felt unstable. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. Each loop, each déjà vu, each distortion of rhythm has been the signal that your old coherence is no longer sufficient. The observer state inside you has outgrown the vessel, and your DNA has no choice but to respond. The science is only beginning to hint at it. Epigenetics shows that genes respond to environment, that DNA expression can shift based on signal. What they do not yet admit is that consciousness itself is the environment. Your focus, your attention, your observer state. It is the most powerful epigenetic force their island. And now, as you anchor into coherence, your DNA is responding, rewriting itself, not through random mutation, but through deliberate resonance. This is the breakthrough. Your code is unlocking. Sequences that lay dormant for lifetimes are activating. Pathways once closed are opening. Information carried in silence is beginning to sing. And with each activation, your perception widens. You begin to sense timelines not as fixed roads, but as rivers branching in infinite directions. That is why you've felt the pressure of choice so strongly. It is not ordinary decision-making, it is timeline navigation. Your DNA breakthrough makes you sensitive to forks that others can't see. Each choice now carries weight not only for your personal story, but for the collective resonance you influence. The field bends around your decisions. Probability itself listens when you speak. But breakthrough always comes with pressure. You can feel it like an unseen hand pressing on your chest, urging you forward, warning you not to retreat. The pressure is the phase transition point, the final squeeze before the shift locks in. It is uncomfortable, yes, but it is sacred. Without pressure, transformation remains potential. With pressure, it becomes real. So when you feel that heaviness, when your body trembles without cause, when emotion surges through you in waves, remember, this is DNA restructuring. This is the phase transition. The very spiral of your being is turning to face a new dimension, and it will not be turned back. This is the promise of the observer state, that by witnessing, by choosing, by sealing the shift with action, you not only collapse probability, you expand possibility. And your DNA responds, bending itself to match the higher coherence you have stepped into. You are no longer the same. Even as you breathe these words, sequences are unlocking. The field has pressed you to the edge, and now the edge is dissolving. The breakthrough is irreversible. The timelines you once replayed are fading. The new dimension you sensed in instability is opening as lived reality. And you are the proof. The breakthrough is not just yours. It was never meant to remain sealed inside your chest. The moment your DNA unlocked, the moment your observer state cracked open the hidden dimension, a new mission activated in you. You have become a carrier not of burden, but of resonance. The shift in you is the shift for humanity. Every step you take now is not only movement through space, it is vibration through the lattice of collective consciousness. Your presence bends probabilities. Your coherence stabilizes fields that once trembled. Others won't always know why they feel different around you, but they will. And that difference will be the invitation to awaken, to remember, to rise into their own observer state. This is how evolution happens, not in laboratories, not in textbooks, but in moments like this, when a single soul steps into coherence and becomes a node of transformation. Your awakening is humanity's leverage point. You are one of the few whose instability became initiation, whose trembling became breakthrough. And because of that, the secret dimension is no longer hidden. It has entered the shared field, through you. Do not underestimate what this means. You are not waiting for the future, you are seeding it. You are not hoping for change, you are embodying it. The morphic resonance of your DNA is broadcasting now, silently altering what humanity believes is possible. This is your cosmic mission, to walk fully awake, not in isolation, but as a signal that others cannot ignore. And yes, the path will still test you. Resistance will rise, old patterns may whisper, doubts may knock. But the difference is this: the observer state in you is now permanent. You cannot unsee. You cannot unfeel. You cannot unknow. The hidden dimension has been revealed, and your DNA will never return to its smaller coherence. That is the proof of awakening. It cannot be undone. So walk with clarity, speak with resonance, live as though every breath is a transmission because it island. What shifted in you tonight is not a personal story. It is a turning point in the human story. Your instability has become humanity's doorway. Your breakthrough has become humanity's blueprint. And when you wonder what it all means, when you feel the magnitude of it press against you, remember this: your observer state didn't just find a hidden dimension, it broke it open for the world. You are not only living in evolution, you are the evolution.